Gentleman member for Pontiac. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two reasons for taking an interest in this bill. I'm the Treasury Board critic, and I'm a member from a riding that relies heavily on small businesses for job creation. And I have the huge pleasure and privilege to have done a tour in my riding, places like Chelsea, Wakefield, and Shawville. I even did a pharmacy tour to talk about drug shortages. It was a great consultation with business people in my region, and they agree that we have to reduce red tape, but not necessarily in the way that this bill would do it. So we agree in principle with reducing red tape and administrative nuisances, but as Treasury Board critic, I have serious concerns about this bill, because I can see, and this is often the case with conservative bills, because they have a virtually religious zeal about defending the free market at all costs, they've included in this bill a hidden agenda, and that is to reduce regulations that protect health and safety and the environment. Mr. Speaker, after the listeriosis crisis and the tragedy in Lac-Mégantic, what we need now is guarantees to better protect health and safety regulations. Public interest regulations should be maintained, but this bill would jeopardize them, Mr. Speaker, because it gives the President of Treasury Board greater power to eliminate regulations on the pretext of reducing red tape. That is not the solution for sound public administration, Mr. Speaker. It's true that we in the NDP want to reduce red tape for small businesses, but this can't be done at the expense of the safety of Canadians, and we can't trust the Conservatives who habitually deregulate without regard for Canadians' health and safety. It's not just a matter of controlling the number of regulations. It's more a question of determining which regulations are useful to Canadians. A proper study has to be done. That's a reasonable way of approaching public administration. You see, Mr. Speaker, only the preamble of this bill stipulates that regulations protecting Canadians' health and safety will not be affected. And the preamble is not part of the actual law. There is no mention of the environment at all in this bill. If the Conservatives truly care about Canadians' health and safety, why didn't they explicitly protect regulations protecting health and safety? Why didn't they exempt them from the application of this bill? I'd like to remind my colleagues of some of the important things that this government has neglected when it came to health and safety and the environment. The Conservatives do not have a good record when it comes to preserving regulations and standards protecting health and safety. For example, last year, the Minister of Transport gave WestJet an exemption. WestJet's planes can now fly with only one flight attendant for every 50 passengers instead of the standard of 1 for 40, which was the regulatory standard. Since then, other carriers have asked for similar exemptions. The NDP would like to see that 1 to 40 ratio maintained. In 1999, the Liberals continued with the Mulroney deregulation of railway safety by continuing to put forward the safety management system. And the Conservatives carried through with the same approach. Under that approach, the industry self-regulates rather than creating industry standards industry-wide standards. And as we know, this has led to a number of deregulations, derailments rather. Companies, of course, have a profit motive. In the 2014 budget, the Conservatives also made changes to the Labor Code, and that stripped powers from health and safety officers in workplaces under federal regulation. Compromising the health and safety of workers is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. So it's clear that the President of the Treasury Board, that Conservative minister, should not be given any greater discretion when it comes to health, safety, and environmental protections. When it comes to reducing red tape, it's hard to believe that the Conservatives are actually sincere about doing that, because they did the opposite with the Building Canada Fund. Instead of helping municipalities and small business start up infrastructure projects in a timely fashion, the Conservatives set up a lengthy bureaucratic system for any project over $100 million. This will create delays from 6 to 18 months, which will hold up major projects. They did the same thing when it came to reforming EI. They're now making employers provide more and more information about employees. So they're not helping small business at all. For example, in 2014, the Conservatives dragged their heels on reducing credit card charges that businesses have to pay card issuers. If the Conservatives truly wanted to help small business, they would have supported the NDP's proposal to create an ombudsman who would control or oversee credit card charges. But no, Mr. Speaker, this bill is not a serious piece of legislation. The principle is good, but it's not clear that it would produce the desired results.
Is identify what doesn't make sense in the system and eliminate it. That is a simple study. The one-for-one rule is too vague, and there is no guarantee that it is going to work, Mr. Speaker. Also, what we have to stop doing is giving lip service to small and medium-sized businesses and actually help them out. By, for example, restoring the small business hiring tax credit for young people, reducing taxes for small businesses, specifically not the corporate tax rate for the largest and most successful businesses in this country, cracking down on hidden credit card transaction fees, and maybe let's redefine what a small and medium-sized business is for government procurement contracts. I don't know if you realize this, Mr. Speaker, but a small and medium-sized business is defined as 500 employees and less. I would probably approximate that in my writing, small and medium-sized businesses, the average employees that they have is 25. So it is completely unreasonable to expect a small and medium-sized company with 25 employees to compete with a small and medium-sized, supposed small and medium-sized business with 499 employees. Does it make any sense? There is no sensitivity built into the system with regards to profit margins, with regards to size of staff, etc. We could also talk about service agreement between merchants and credit card companies that profit small business owners from directly passing on these fees onto consumers. This increases the price of goods on everything. Despite dismissing a recent case against Visa and MasterCard, the Competition Tribunal, in a rare move, called for a regulatory framework to deal with anti-competitive practices. We could also create a new tax credit for businesses that hire or train young people, and financing to help small business owners grow their business and make it easier for parents to pass family businesses to their kids. Tax credits to offset payroll taxes, helping small businesses innovate, etc., etc. And in the agricultural sector, maybe we could do something about risk capital and about high interest rates for acquiring new agricultural lands. It's clear that on this side of the equation, we're proposing sensible, concrete, realistic means of truly helping our small and medium-sized businesses to create jobs desperately needed in our country. Thank you.